Maru's heart was already racing as she turned on the kitchen tap. She stared out the window for half a second, just long enough to regret it, then snapped her eyes back to the plates. Of all days, today was the day the neighbours decided to play football outside, laughing, shouting, running back and forth like they owned the place. Some of them actually owned the creature. It wasn't right outside the house, but it didn't need to be. The moment she stepped out, she'd be spotted. Instantly. She briefly wondered if she could crawl on her belly all the way to the back like a lizard. The thought almost made her laugh, almost. She swallowed her frustration and scrubbed harder. Mother had switched the dish soap again. Cost-cutting, she'd said. Where they once used canoe soap, the kind that left your hands soft, almost grateful, they now used soda. Cheap, mean, unforgiving. Depending on the batch, soda soap did one of two things. Either it left your hands itching like ants were trapped under your skin, or it sucked every drop of moisture out and rewarded you with peeling a few hours later. Meruje flexed her fingers. She could already feel the peeling coming. Then the chicken screamed, not clucking, not fussing, screaming. Her head snapped up. She grabbed the burglary proof on the window, fingers tight, eyes flicking left, right, up. Searching. Nothing. For one foolish second she loosened her grip, thinking maybe it was a false alarm. That was when she saw them. Thin black slits hung in the air just outside the kitchen window, curved like smiles that didn't belong on anything living. The slits widened slowly, until they became eyes. Huge, human-shaped, grey. The black spread fast, flooding their translucent tail-ridden bodies until the eyes bulged with slime. All of them staring straight at her, watching, hungry. Meruje dropped beneath the sink. She hugged her knees to her chest, trying, failing to calm her breathing. Fear fed the fear hound. Everyone knew that. Surely it had eaten enough by now. Then something tapped against the window. Tap, tap. Meruje clamped her hands over her mouth. Her body locked in place as the tapping continued, slow and deliberate, like it knew she was listening. She hated this. Hated how fear paralyzed her. Hated how the creature had trapped her and Mother in this half-life. Hated how the neighbours pretended this was normal. Then came the slurping, wet, lazy, distracted. It was at the refuse bin now. Meruje let out a shaky breath. Bingo. That was its name. Because if you ignored the 3 massive tails and the eyes that didn't belong in this world, it was basically just a huge black dog. How original, she thought bitterly. She stood slowly, wiped her damp palms on her shorts, and opened the kitchen cabinet. Right at the back, behind tins no one touched, sat a black nylon bag. Salt, palm oil, a dried chicken wing bone. The bone had belonged to Bingo's latest victim. Her stomach tightened as she rubbed palm oil into it, then massaged in the salt, exactly like the instructions said. No rushing, no shortcuts. The ancients hated shortcuts. Mother would have lost her mind if she knew. After Grandmother died, the collection had been passed down. Objects, texts, warnings. Mother said they were dangerous. Said they carried consequences. But on weekends, when Mother went to the market, Meruje read them anyway. Searching, hoping. A month ago, she'd found something. Something that could help. She hadn't finished memorizing it before Mother packed the entire collection and sent it to her sister in the village. Too late. Meruje had memorized most of it, she hoped. Outside, Bingo growled, low and pleased. Still busy with trash, still unaware that for the first time, someone inside this house wasn't just hiding. For the first time, Meruje wasn't waiting for fear to pass. She was ready to act. And if the ancients were right, this would either save them or make everything much, much worse. Bingo yawned. The sound was deep and lazy, and it made Meruje jerk like she'd been struck. Father used to tease her about her fear of creatures that were half physical, half spiritual. He'd laugh, ruffle her hair, tell her there was nothing to be afraid of. And then he would make them go away. Father was gone now. And the neighbours had taken a liking to a fear hound. Her fear drew Bingo to the compound. She knew that. It fed the thing, revived those disgusting tales that had no place in the realm of man. When Mother wasn't around to drive it away with salted sticks, Meruje became a prisoner in her own house. She hated how pathetic that made her feel. As if terror wasn't enough, Bingo's physical side enjoyed mowing down their native chickens, the same chickens whose sales paid for Meruje's school fees and their feed. The neighbours found the whole thing amusing, something to laugh about over evening drinks. So she had no choice. She had to defy Mother. How was she supposed to stay calm when her fear kept dragging Bingo back? And the neighbours' rare physical feeding only ensured it returned stronger, hungrier for their chickens. A distant shout rang out. Someone had scored a goal. There were no fences between compounds. Someone would notice the creature soon, slumped by the bin. And when they did, they'd come looking. She had to act before that happened. Sweat gathered on her forehead. Nearly 30 minutes had passed, and Bingo still looked active. Too active. Her thoughts turned dark. What if Mama Bola had cheated her? Mother always said potion sellers these days sold coloured water and called it medicine. Had Meruje saved pocket money for weeks, lied shamelessly, just to buy water? She'd told Mama Bola Mother couldn't sleep. Bills piling up, father gone. Would Mama Bola really sell useless nonsense to a wid? A loud thud cut the thought short. Meruje jumped. Bingo lay comatose beside the bin. For a moment, Meruje couldn't breathe. Then she moved. Slowly, carefully, she unlocked the kitchen door and pushed it open. The hinges creaked, loud as thunder in her ears. She dropped to all fours and crawled toward the creature, every instinct screaming at her to turn back. The urge to run nearly won. Then she thought of Mother, suddenly alone, rearing chickens, selling them just to survive. She remembered how Mother had gone to the neighbours, pleading, threatening, screaming. How none of it worked. How even the community elders laughed it off. Mother had told her not to worry about the chickens Bingo ate, said as long as Meruje got good grades, that was all that mattered. Meruje reached the creature and froze. No movement. She plucked a few hairs from its hide. Nothing. Her hands shook as she raised them to Bingo's slimy mouth. Carefully, she worked it open and dropped the chicken wing inside. It sizzled the moment it touched Bingo's tongue. Bingo whimpered. Meruje screamed. She bolted upright. Too loud, too sudden, and the football boys turned as one. Panic detonated in her chest. She ran, back into the house. Door slammed, lock thrown, bare feet pounding as she fled down the passage and into her room. Outside, the shouting stopped. The game had paused. And Bingo, whether asleep or dying, was no longer something they could ignore. Meruje pressed her back against the door, heart crashing in her ears. She had acted. And whatever happened next, she knew one thing for certain. Nothing in this compound would be the same again. Dinner passed in silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that presses against your ears until you start hearing your own heartbeat. Mother stared at Meruje across the table, eyes sharp, unreadable. "What did you give it?" she asked. Meruje didn't look up. "I didn't give it anything. I'm too afraid to go close to it. You forget you have to walk me past it when I go to school?" "I do not forget," Mother said calmly, too calmly. "And I also do not forget that my child is resourceful. What did you give it?" Meruje shifted on her seat. "I poured sleeping potion into the egusi soup, the one I threw in the bin." Mother froze. "Ah?" she said softly. "Who sold you potion?" "One mama I saw passing my school." Mother's eyes narrowed. "Why is anyone selling potion to secondary school children? Wait." She leaned forward. "With what money?" "My pocket money." "Mer, that is for lunch." "I'm sorry," Meruje cut in quickly. "I just wanted to do something." Mother exhaled slowly, the anger draining into something heavier. "What lie did you tell her?" "Young adults need sleep too." "Meruje, I told her you were deeply distressed. Mother's lips twitched despite herself. Meruje noticed. Hope flickered. Do you think it would kill it? Meruje asked quietly. Mother studied her for a long moment. I wish for that, she said, but I do not think so. Those stupid hybrids are tough. She paused. Do not do it again. Meruje nodded, relief washing through her. You told Daddy Feck you would flog me, Mother snorted. Yes, just like Daddy Feck told me he would make sure the creature stayed in their compound. Meruje tilted her head. So, you are both liars? Mother raised an eyebrow. Eat your Eba, she said, and be quiet. Yes, Mother. Meruje returned to her food, but her thoughts stayed outside, with the bin, the creature, and the lie that had bought them one quiet night. A little after midnight, when Mother's snores travelled loud and clear into Meruje's room, she slipped out of bed. The house was still, not sleeping, listening. She knelt and reached beneath her bed, pulling out Father's mat. Carefully, she spread it across the floor. Every edge had been painstakingly sliced and neatly sewn with Mother's Igara wedding fabric. Her chest tightened. If this failed, she would be flogged for destroying the fabric alone, before any other sins were even discussed. Meruje placed the hound's hair at the centre of the mat. Her hands shook as she set 4 pieces of native chalk around it, each one pointing outward. She lined the edges of the mat with salt, then hesitated. Just for a second. Then she nicked her arm. Blood welled up, hot and sharp. She let it drip onto the salt at each corner of the mat. Her palms were slick with sweat by the time she reached for the matchbox beside her pillow. She held her breath, struck the match, dropped it. The salt ignited instantly. Meruje gasped as flames of blue, yellow and black leapt up from the floor, burning in the exact patterns stitched into Mother's fabric. The fire did not spread. It stood, obedient, precise. Black smoke rose slowly from the centre of the mat, thick, spiralling alive. Meruje's eyes burned. She sniffled, wiped at her face and whispered, Daddy? The smoke shifted, stretched, tightened into the shape of a woman, short, heavy-set, adjusting until her rich, dark skin gleamed in the firelight. Igara fabric was tied firmly around her chest. Blood-red beads circled her neck and wrists. Meruje's heart slammed against her ribs. She scrambled backward, hitting the wall. The woman looked down at her. That is not how to greet your elders, Meruje. The voice was calm, solid, unavoidable. I forgive me, Meruje stammered. Father, I thought he would come. Your father is young yet, the woman said. His time to be an ancient has not come. She flicked her wrist. An invisible force yanked Meruje to her feet. No offering, the woman asked. Meruje's throat closed. Native chalk. The woman clicked her tongue. It is too measly for what you desire. Fear rattled through Meruje's bones as the force tightened around her body, pinning her in place. It is all the remainder of my pocket money could afford, she said, voice breaking. The sound was neither approval nor rejection. It was judgment. Pain exploded through Meruje's mouth. She screamed as if someone had brought a hammer down on her teeth. Mommy! The word tore out of her, raw and useless. The woman did not flinch. Fire crackled. Smoke churned. The mat burned on without consuming itself. She had been heard. Blue essence poured from Meruje's mouth. It streamed out in a steady ribbon, glowing faintly as it flowed into the woman's waiting hand. Meruje! Mother screamed. The sound shattered the ritual. Meruje collapsed, hitting the floor hard. Blood leaked from the corner of her mouth just as Mother burst into the room, breathless, wild-eyed. Mother froze. Grandmother, she whispered. The woman chuckled, pleased. Indeed, she said, your daughter is Joy. And then she vanished. The flames died instantly. The smoke thinned. The mat lay still, burnt but untouched. Mother lunged for the switch, flooding the room with light, and rushed to Meruje's side. She knelt, lifting her gently into a sitting position. "Say ah," she said, already shaking. "I'm sorry," Meruje whispered through tears. "I only wanted to help. I thought it would be father." Mother's face hardened, not with anger, but fear. "I told you it was dangerous," she said. "The ancients can be vicious. Why did you not listen?" "I'm sorry," Mother swallowed, steadying herself. "Open your mouth, Mer." Meruje obeyed. Mother studied her mouth carefully. "She took one of your molars," she said quietly. "It will fall out within the week. The pain will stay for maybe 3 weeks," she winced. "Your grandmother always had a strange fascination with teeth." Meruje's eyes filled again. "You're not angry?" Mother exhaled slowly. She took one of Meruje's hands and turned it over, studying the peeling skin on her palm. "I will find an alternative soap," she said. "But the money? I understand why you tried to reach him." Mother sat beside her, close now, tired, smaller somehow. "They do not treat us very well without him," she said quietly. "Do they?" Meruje shook her head. "No." The word broke her. She leaned forward and wept as Mother wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. The room smelled faintly of smoke and salt and blood. "I'm sorry," Meruje sobbed. Mother rested her cheek against her daughter's head. "No more pocket money for you, Meruje." "Yes, Mommy." They sat there together on the floor, long after the pain settled into something dull and throbbing. Outside, the compound was quiet. The fear hound did not return that night. But Meruje understood now. Help always came at a cost. And the ancients never took payment lightly. Before sunrise, Meruje stood in the kitchen holding a bowl of leftover rice while Mother unlocked the door. Her mouth throbbed viciously. Every breath reminded her of the missing tooth. Outside, the fowls had begun screaming again. And worse, Bingo was still there. Its howling had somehow grown louder. Meruje felt like an absolute idiot. She had lost Mother's wedding fabric, lost a tooth, lost her pocket money. And for what? Well, not nothing, she thought bitterly. She had at least gained the bright wisdom of knowing never to try that again. Mother once said there was an ancestor who collected eyes. What if that was who had answered instead? Meruje shuddered. Mother picked up a rod laced with salt and pulled the door open. "Are you okay?" "Yes." "Is the pain still as much as it was in the night?" "Yes." Mother nodded. "I will reconsider the pocket money in a month, okay?" She stepped outside. "Thank..." Meruje walked straight into Mother's back. "Ouch!" She looked up, following Mother's frozen stare. The compound looked wrong. The air had taken on a grey tinge, the unmistakable colour of spiritual interference in the realm of man. Howling filled the morning, layered and terrible, the cries of the fowls tangled with cold wind, and something far larger, something many. Next to every house, as far as Meruje could see, stood fear hounds. Not like Bingo. These were fully spirit, their massive forms stretched lazily through the compounds, yawning, settling in, as if they had always belonged there. And entwined within their tails were the spirits of the husbands, men from the community, wrapped tight, feeding the hounds with their fear. It was still early. Too early. When the living realized their men lay comatose, the screaming would begin. Meruje struggled to breathe. "Mommy, are they dead?" "No," Mother said quietly. "Only separated." "Will they be rejoined?" Mother swallowed. "That is up to the Council of Ancients." She glanced around the compound, her jaw tight. "I did not know it would be this bad. Only you and I can see them. Only we can hear the howling. It is done by our blood." She turned sharply. "Mer." "Yes, Ma?" "Look at me." Meruje did. "When the community wakes, you must pretend not to hear or see the spirits. Do you hear me?" "Yes, Mommy." "Come, let us go feed the fowls." Dazed, Meruje followed. "I only wanted Bingo gone." "Yes," Mother said softly, "but it was not the root of the problem. I suppose the ancients decided this is what is needed for them to feel like us." Meruje whimpered. I didn't want the fathers to die. I know, Mother said. They are not dead. She paused. The fowls are quiet now. Should I try to fix? No! Mother spun and grabbed Meruje's shoulders. The council will judge their hearts now. It is no longer in our hands. It is not your fault they treated us as a nuisance because your father is gone. I begged Meruje. I begged them. They did not care. Her grip softened. It is not your fault. Do you hear me? Yes, Mommy. They reached the unfinished building where the fowls slept. Bingo lay there, very dead. The chickens had stopped crying. They were eating it. Mother wrapped an arm around Meruje, pulling her close. Together they stood and watched as the sun crept over the horizon, quiet, golden, and entirely unconcerned. When daylight came, it would bring chaos with it. But for now, the compound held its breath.
I'm Oza and Zuriel. Thank you for watching my story. I post thrice a week. Subscribe.